The most played agents were Jet and Rita until a recent addition came out, Clove. These agents are popular because they're stupid easy to use and require little brain power to operate, essentially letting players compete in BMX with training wheels. But they're terrible for actually teaching players anything more than the concept of take fights. Clove is in that domain. Today I will show you 3 overpowered agents from easy to hard, along with one major lesson you will learn from them, starting with Phoenix. Phoenix is our first agent because he's insanely easy. He really has one playstyle that most players go around, and it's just his ult. Phoenix is my favorite agent because all of his gameplay is very simple. All his abilities are super simple. Just right click the flash, throw it over, and it clears everything. And his ult is also insanely overpowered. His entire playstyle is just based around his ult. You just farm the ult the entire time, and then you just entry first on site, hope the teammates trade you, and then you get bombed down and play post plant. The other second nice thing, you get this ult back so quickly. So your entire game strategy can literally just be farm orbs and ult out sites, which is super duper fun. So I'm going to run you through the most major improvement points that I cover with students in sessions when they play Phoenix. The very first thing is do not be afraid to use your wall to grab orb. Your entire play style is around this orb, so make sure you use something to grab it. The flash isn't good enough, the molly isn't good enough for a lot of positions, just use the wall. Keep in mind that you can also use the wall to bait the grab if you know the enemies like to fight you, and then you can flash through the wall and peek with it. Phoenix's flash is very straightforward. You don't need to know all this tech. You basically just right click it or left click around surfaces, whatever feels better. Right click is usually nicer when you're trying to peek over here because it flashes behind you and you can peek with it, while this one might just blind you. Keep in mind you can also flash over surfaces like this. So if you want to flash around the truck, you can keep in mind you can also flash over surfaces like this. So if you want to flash over the truck or flash over this box, you definitely can. Even if you want to flash through a teammate, you can throw some really weird stuff where it just curves over like this and it'll blind over here. Today's video is sponsored by you, baby. You've probably already heard about the Ko-Fi. You already know we got the Slayerkey's Guide to Immortal, the World Mastery modules to be the best one trick out there. Good. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you get. First off, pre-aim the angle. Second off, go out with your team. Third off, why are you grabbing orb when you know they could be ramps? I hope you lose this round. Respectfully. They lose the round. They lose the round. Yes. But you want to know my favorite feature? Sub games. The newest addition where you can now play with other subs in games coached by me. That's right, Coach Key.
Bruh.
Excuse me.
No, they're trolling though. They're trolling though!
Come and join in on the fun. I also release coaching tips every week, as well as a Q&A channel where you can ask anything daily. Plus, subscribe right now with the link in the description and I will welcome you with one of many miscellaneous gifts. Thanks again for supporting the content and enjoy. The very last thing that I always tell Phoenix players, and I see in even my lobbies, is don't just ult at the start of the round and go hunt out a kill. Any good player would just hide around this corner, or they would just hide back here and wait for you to run up and then just shoot you in the side. They're usually better if you have teammates to play around, and they're better for executes and retakes. And that's why they're always going to be better for executes and retakes. So when you want to take site, wait for your team to be grouped up and then ult out site and then take all the space, use your utility, have your teammates follow you in, because that's always going to give you more and more benefit. Bonus tip, don't be afraid to use these walls for entries. It's really good for actually cutting off a lot of angles, and then you can always flash through the wall. This is a really nice benefit and clear more space. Same with the molly. If you think about the default Viper setup that happens here, you can basically do the same thing with his utility. Also, don't be afraid to like run through his molly. This usually catches players off guard when they see like a molly on the ground and they just hold it from back here, and you just run through the molly with the flash. Really, very few players actually expect that, and you can get away with that very well. So don't be afraid to be the entry on Phoenix and to use this wall and flash to this wall. You actually create so many options for yourself when you do this. You combine this with a molly somewhere and a flash and you're golden. You are golden on Phoenix. So Phoenix benefits a lot from what I like to call 1, 2, 3s or ability sequences, where you have the first ability you use, the second one you use, and then the third one. So you basically have 3 abilities to help you take each space in order to take site. This wall is super nice because it blocks off all the sight line from here and here, creating a very nice entry point. And you also use flashes, so anyone trying to play around the wall also gets completely screwed. And then this flash lets you come out, this flash lets you peek through the wall, or his flashes are really good to use with his molly and his wall. So he's very, very strong, very capable agent, and very straightforward. Next up is Omen. He's very similar to Phoenix, but a little more difficult to get down, but he has a lot of aggressive potential and is very versatile. And he's also still a controller, so you can throw smokes, but allowing yourself to TP literally on top of the enemy is a perfect strategy. This works against a lot of top players, and you can just do stupid stuff, and a lot of times just get rid of it. After you get a kill, after you want to fight someone, you just chuck a TP down and you just keep on rolling. So a lot of his abilities revolve around him being absolutely stupid, and the lesson you learn with Omen is that risk is needed to have success, but there's a balance, and he teaches you that balance that many players need. Okay, so you see how stupid some of the plays you can make are, where you just TP inside your smokes. You can do this in so many different spots around the map. You could even get away with sometimes just throwing a smoke like in this corner here and then jumping out in the open from here and TPing inside of it. Like, you can just do stupid plays and basically TP inside your smoke and you're already doing an amazing play. It's a really risky, stupid plays, but some rounds just need it, and Omen is the player to make it. His ult just TPing into the respawn. These are really stupid plays, really crazy, and a lot of people will be like, these would never work. People will just look towards spawn, and my enemies play perfect. But Omen will teach you how to be okay with taking that risk. The big things I talk about with my Omen students is don't be afraid to take risks, do really stupid stuff. If your attack isn't working out, don't be afraid to do these really stupid TPs to just get yourself on site and take space, because because it just works, to be honest. So if you just do default smokes every single round, you're not going to see as much benefit as Omen, whereas you do like a slightly different variation of your default smoke and then send a TP inside of it and try to create space for your team as well. The next big thing I talk about with my Omens is be able to play off your flash majority of the time. So if you want to flash sight here, if you flash it from here, you literally have to do an Olympic erase just to peek the people you just flashed. So a better thing to do is to flash space that you know you can push. For example, this left side here, flash up there and flash close left. Or if you want to flash out like this, you can just chuck a blind out here as you come and then focus to one side. Really important that you're able to actually swing and do something off the flash, especially when you're playing a different spot. Say on defense, you play this spot. This is going to be way better to swing and play off of. The very last thing is the Omen ults. A lot of times players forget to use them. A nice little note about this circle is you TP on the dot, but anyone inside this range can hear you. Anyone inside this circle can actually hear you. So if you want to TP CT, for example, you don't want the heaven player to hear you. Instead of TPing here, you can just TP like right here. And it's like, that's good enough. This guy can't hear you, now you're here. It's good for just big rotates. So like they're going out A, I'm just going to TP elbow and try to help the people on site. Or we're going to go out A, we just got out of B and we just TP over. You can also find some benefit from just TPing into their spawn. Even just faking the Omen TP is a good option again in higher rated lobbies. But that's it. Take risk, swing with their flash, and use that ult, baby. Last but definitely not least is Cypher. This dude is absolutely insane right now. There's so many cheeky trips you can do that literally guarantee kills because they're so hard to spot and also break. Good thing to keep in mind is he can cover the entire map with util. This guy can anchor the entire map. And he teaches players a lot about how to play patient and just wait for the right moment. So a lot of Cypher revolves around your enemies coming to you and you waiting to capitalize on them. You will see in this clip, we get the ult and now we're just waiting for the enemies to come out. We see they're coming out, we throw the cage and get another free kill. And you can absolutely dominate on this guy if you just learn how to play patient around his utility and his teammates. So the lesson you learn from this is that enemies are very predictable. You just need to adapt and be patient until the right moment comes. One important trick to getting value with Cypher is tapping his camera, having your camera in a good spot where you just quickly tap it for intel just for a split second. There's one, this guy will pop up on the minimap, anyone there, until you're gonna get info you most likely didn't know already. So we see the player close here and now we can swing already aiming at this player and being an insane advantage to take them out. So if you didn't believe me that Cypher can cover the entire map with his utility, look at this quick setup we just made where this watches main and tree, this watches all of mid, this watches all of B main. But a lot of Cypher comes around waiting for that right moment, playing around with the intel you have. He's very much a spy agent. So your big three things on Cypher is don't be afraid to lurk and just take space. For example, there's some really good cameras you can throw that you just have in this space. For example, if like a trip here, and you just keep all the space for your team. You keep all of mid and B main for your team, and you give your team a lot more options. Let's say if they're towards A and the A push doesn't work out, but if the A push does work out, you can also use this cam and use this trip behind you to start to take this space. Start to take the space, and then now you're in a lurk position. Next big thing is don't swing past your util. Let your util cook and just be in a position to play off of it. So for example, if I were to do these two trips that basically hold this push here, maybe I would play like towards CT with like a cage here, or a cage here honestly, and I would just wait here and wait for these to get popped, or wait for the enemies to start entering, and then I pop this cage and just spam them through. Combine this with a really hard camera to break like up here. It's very hard to contest, and your trips are pretty much guaranteed value until the enemy learns to counter you. If they don't have anything to counter you, it's GG. The very last thing is there's actually really important times to adapt to the enemy team. For example, if you're playing against a slower team, you'd probably put like a trip towards mid, and then you throw cam like here, and you just play for map control. Basically you just wait to see what they end up doing, what they're trying to do, and then you can save your cages more for like a post plant situation. For example, if you want to come out here, you can just throw a cage like here and then a cage here, and you basically just enter yourself on the site to retake it, and that's also really nice. But yeah, that's all with Cypher. If there's anything to take away from this video, it's this. You shouldn't always just do what's hype, since traditionally what society expects and believes is not what's right for you. Play who you find interesting, be who you want to be, but that's all from your slightly translucent coach. Best of luck out there.